Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome to the Marshall Experience. Tonight, we're going to do a short episode. We're just going to teams that are going to look to move up in the draft. We look to move back in the draft. This is the time of year where we're getting ready for the draft. Obviously, um, so there's not a lot to talk about, but the draft. So this may get redundant to some, but to others, this is our favorite time of the year. So content's going to be good, and we look forward to keep it coming. So for me, I just really wrote down some teams again that are going to be able to trade up and down in this draft, and possibly even both. So it'll be interesting to see what teams we come up with. But just a little fun fact: for the first time in the NFL merger, since the NFL merger, there's not been a single first round pick that has been traded up until this point. Obviously, there's a lot of time for that to change. I do think, in my opinion, that will change. Guys, we are 8 days away. 8 days away from one of the best off-season programs, in my opinion. The draft exciting, especially draft day trades. Big names go other places. There's nothing like the NFL offseason in my opinion. So we're jumping right into it. Teams that are going to trade up in this draft class, in my personal opinion. Okay. In my personal opinion, the first team that's going to be able to go up, Eagles Nest, what's going on? One of the first people that I see that are going to trade up are the 49ers. Their most recent one didn't really work out for them. They moved up 9 spots to get Trey Lance. In my personal opinion, obviously that didn't work out for him. He's no longer on the team. He didn't really see any starting potential playing time with them either. I don't think a move like that as bold is going to happen. Obviously, I think they trust in Brock Purdy. They're not going to go after a quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. But in my opinion, this is the scenario. Say the New York Giants do take Shedeur Sanders at number 3. I don't think that's going to happen, but this is a hypothetical scenario where they take Sanders at 3. That pushes either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter down to the Patriots. This is now going to create a chain of it's going to push everybody back, right? I think that either Will Campbell or Ahmed Membu will fall past 8. Now, I think these are 2 people that the 49ers are willing to trade up. They definitely need the offensive line help. There's who also could go offensive line as well. I think that they just secure their guy. They move up a few spots to maybe 8 or 9 to get that player. I think a trade back spot, and we'll talk about this later, would be the New Orleans Saints at 9. So which would jump the Bears. I think that would be a perfect jump spot for them to maybe trade up and get one of these guys. They do own 11 picks, which is tied most in the draft this year. So again, they have the firepower to move up, guys. It's not like they're going to really be hurting if they move up 2 picks. It's going to take an extra pick, maybe a day 3 pick, 4th round pick maybe to move up 2 spots. It could happen. Next team that I have moving up is going to be the Houston Texans, another team that needs defensive tackle help. Do I think that they move up as drastically? No. This is a team that's sitting in the mid-teens right now, mid-round. And but one thing that they lost, guys, they lost offensive line. Tunzel, Kenyon Green, Shaq Mason. They brought in a little bit older guys, as in Cam Robinson and Laken Tomlinson. To me, that screamed age. That screamed rental. For me, they definitely have to focus on the offensive line. Last year was 54 sacks, which was tied for 3rd most in the NFL. They have to be able to protect C.J. Stroud. We can see what he does with the rookie year when he has just that little bit of protection. Last year, he didn't get much of it. For me, some threats, right? Some threats that they would have to either trade above or trade with to get some of these players that I'll talk about. But some of the threats are Cincinnati at 16. They could focus on offensive line. Arizona was 17. Seattle at 18 is a big one. Seattle definitely needs offensive line to help protect Sam Darnold. The Chargers at 22 is kind of a reach. I think that they go tight end or running back. I think they need another weapon. But for me, I think that they could sneak an offensive pick in there, offensive line pick, and Minnesota as well. Minnesota protecting J.J. McCarthy could go offensive line as well. So some of these are some of the teams that they would have to jump to be able to get the guys that they're on their draft board. Guys like Kelvin Banks Jr., Gray Zabel, Josh Counterly Jr., or Josh Simmons. These may be guys that they're high on their draft board that they just want to make sure that they go and get. They get their guy, and hopefully they don't have to jump up too far to get it. So these are some guys to watch. My next team that could trade up, the Bills. Okay, hear me out. The list of needs is really shorter than most, but corner really shines out to me for the Bills. Okay, Rasul Douglas is unsigned. Christian Benford, it's really a question mark opposite of that. Because of the injuries to Siobhan Revel, which is the ACL concerned, which is Benjamin Morrison, which is the hip concern. I do see that, I don't think there's going to be much corner action in the first round. So the Bills could be motivated to move up in a couple different ways. Names that I've circled are kind of like Will Johnson, Jahdae Barron, but that would likely them sliding into the teens. So again, that would create another scenario to where everybody's moved back. They could get Maxwell Harrison, which will probably go early 20s maybe. And then they could also go after Trey Amos, who they would probably only have to move up a few spots, if at all. I would say that corner's a high point of focus for them. Their general manager, Brandon Beane, has already traded up in the first round 4 times during his tenure in Buffalo. So again, this is not a scenario where it's just out of this world. This has already happened 4 times for the Buffalo Bills. Now we're going to get into the teams that could trade back into the first round. Meaning that they already have a first-round pick, they can move back into the first to get another pick. Okay, and I only have 2 teams for this: the Browns and the Giants. Okay, the easiest way to approach a situation is just to talk about both. They're after the same thing. They have the same dilemma, right? No quarterback, no long-term quarterback, I guess I should say. Okay, so this is teams that could move back up into the first for like a Jackson Dart, for a Shedeur Sanders. I do see the Steelers maybe being among this group. I still do see Aaron Rodgers going to the Steelers, but again, that's no long-term option. I do have Shedeur falling to the Steelers at 21 right now, but that's no to say that at 15 to 18 that one of these teams aren't going to make another jump. They have early second-round picks, both of these teams, 33 and 34, which is the first and second pick in the second round. They have the firepower to be able to move up back into the first, guys. I really think that this could be possible that, maybe we're starting to see the Browns. Maybe they take Travis Hunter at number 2. They trade back up into the first to get Shedeur. Maybe Sanders and Hunter stay together. We don't know. It's definitely a possibility, and that's what I'm here to tell you. The Browns have a total of 10 picks. Giants only have 8. But again, they have that firepower to have that early second where I could give you a second, a third, and a fourth to move back up. We get our 2 guys, we're good. It's a scenario. It really is. Now, these are teams that could trade down in round 1. So again, just meaning that they trade back, they still sit in round 1, or they maybe move back to round 2 and just want the depth. Kind of a curveball here, but following the news of Derek Carr, obviously his 2025 season is uncertain. Quarterback is unquestionably a huge need in New Orleans. I think before the Derek Carr situation, I would have advocated for them to take Jackson Dart or Shedeur Sanders. Okay. However, I think that, again, this could be another team, but Jackson Dart Shadur Sanders, Jalen Milroe. You guys have quarterbacks in the second, third round. They could go that option. They really could. They could focus on quarterback next year. Okay, they got a brand new head coach. Nobody's really expecting Kellen Moore to lead them to the playoffs and lead them to the promised land when they don't have a roster to do so. So why not chalk it up? Chalk this year up and go into next. Get your quarterback. Some real needs for the Saints are at corner, at defensive end. These two positions are very deep in this draft class. So if you trade back, maybe you can focus on both instead of just one. This is talking about the future, guys. We're talking about the long tenure road. Okay, we're not trying to win a championship in New Orleans next year. We're trying to build a franchise. We're rebuilding for sure. Players such as Ashton Jeanty or Tyler Warren could be available at 9. Now, could I see them going that route? Absolutely. But again, that's why teams could trade up. Tyler Warren and Jeanty being available at 9. You could see teams, oh man, we really got to get that guy. I cannot believe he fell past the Raiders. Cool. Go up and get him, give them a second and a third. Call it a day. They get more picks. They can get 2 needs instead of 1. It's just something to think about. Another team that I have that could trade back, the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons have a substantial need at edge rusher to be addressed, but it's worth noting that they only have 3 picks before round 7 in this draft. They traded away their 3rd and 6th rounders, and they forfeited their 5th round pick for violating the league's anti-tampering policy last offseason. I think that was with Kirk Cousins. And Atlanta is short on salary cap flexibility. We already touched on that in an episode. They're hurting in cap. They can't afford all these picks, all these first-round picks. It costs money. So this is a guy that could trade back. Hey, we'll take a second next year. And then you give us a 4th and a 5th and a 6th. Get those picks back. I still believe that Atlanta could at least explore a trade for Kirk Cousins, whether that comes off his contract or you get 2025 draft capital. There's a couple different scenarios for Atlanta as well. This one I got a lot of head shakes at. But I had the Denver Broncos as a possibility of a trade back. The Broncos strike me as a trade down candidate for 2 reasons. First, this roster does not have many glaring needs. Yes, it needs another weapon, but that defense is on point. It was one of the best in the league last year, and they added to it. The most popular position linked to Denver has obviously been running back, but I think that can be later filled. Okay? I think that a Trayvon Henderson will be in the 2nd round. I think that a Christian Jenkins will be in the 2nd round. You guys can move back and still get the need, get more draft capital. The Washington Commanders, their first pick is at 29. Again, 2 reasons the Commanders kind of identify as trade candidates for me. They're selecting late enough in the 1st round that a team selecting early on day 2 might give them a call. So somebody on day 2 might be like, hey, man, I can't believe that guy's still there, like a James Pierce or a Donovan Escaro, right? Wow, I cannot believe these guys are still there. So I'm going to move up and I'm going to get that guy. These are teams that can trade with New Orleans, with the Giants. Like I said, these are teams that can move back up and get their guy. I just think they're in good position to trade out, and I think they're also willing because of the depth of the defensive line position. Okay? One team that can trade up or down. I threw this wrench in there. So the Patriots, to me, are the cog that is going to make this all go smoothly. Okay? Now, they could make this a mess, or they could make this just a smooth ride, and everybody kind of really gets their picks right. The Patriots could be that wrench in there. But the reason why is because they have options. In round one, it would be practical business for them to keep the phone lines open. Okay, and this is why. Shedeur Sanders could easily be on the board. Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter could have fell. They could still be available. That being reason number one. Okay, now let's jump to round number two. Patriots big in free agency on both sides of the ball. Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, Harold Landry, Robert Spillane, and they got their number one wide receiver in Stephon Diggs. Obviously, there's weaknesses. New head coach Mike Vrabel. But I have the Patriots making a couple moves here, guys. I think Mike Vrabel is going to be an aggressive coach. I think that he's more of a Dan Campbell-esque guy, and I really do think that they're going to trade back only to move back up to get their guy. So I think that they could move back and move back up, and that's why I have them in position the way I am. Guys, again, we are 8 days away from a beautiful tenure in the NFL world, to where we give young guys the opportunity to come play professional football, and I couldn't be more excited. It's one of my favorite events of the year, the NFL draft. And I hope that all the content has been as pleasurable as it is. Turn over to TikTok, guys. Turn over to TikTok and check out our mock drafts. We do mock drafts live. We try to do it at least twice a week. So that way, because we're getting in the busy of things. But again, yeah, come check us out. But if you can't, not TikTok, but Facebook as well and YouTube. We produce episodes every Tuesday and Sunday. We are powered by the Sports Lounge Media, guys. We're doing huge things over at the Sports Lounge Media. We will be covering the draft day coverage live on YouTube. So go check that out on YouTube. Give them a follow on YouTube, and it doesn't cost any money to check us out. Big things happening over there, and of course, we're sponsored by the Mogul brand. But everybody, I appreciate you. Please go check out the other platforms and give us a follow. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you.